good morning and welcome back to the greenhouse on this amazing day. Now, you'll have to put up with me being a bit in the shade and squinting today because the sun really is bright, and no matter where I put my little phone camera, I still end up squinting and being in the shade, so we'll just have to put up with it together. I just wanted to say a quick thing today about planting your seeds, because as you know, we're hitting March and there's a lot of seeds need to be planted right now. Now don't worry if you think some of them should have been planted in February and you're late, because they will catch up. Or if you think some shouldn't be planted till likes of May and you plant them a bit early, that's alright because they'll slow down, so don't panic too much about that. The thing to think about is, what's it gonna cost you? Now, if you go buying things like these are little cell trays. You know, as you fill them up with compost, you put like 1 or 2 little seeds in each one, and you put it in a tray, and you get one of these lovely little plastic greenhouse mini things on the top, and they cost you, you know, they're a few quid by the time you put 20 seeds in. I try to avoid that wherever I can, so I normally hit the dustbin. Now, what I pull out are things like this: egg boxes, trays of fruit and veg. In fact, I get some of my friends to collect them for us. Now, I know what you're thinking. I bet you're using all that plastic in the garden. Well, I am, but all I'm doing is I'm saving myself a pretty penny on buying plastic to put my seeds into. Now, one of the most valuable things I've come across are these. Now, these are milk cartons. I mean, this one's for goat's milk because, you know, we're really right on. But you can use any milk carton. Now, I'll show you how to use these a little bit later on in the video because I've made an entire video about using these. We'll have a look at that in a minute. Funny story. I wrote off to the company, not this company, it was another goat's milk company, and I said, hey, I've done a video on these, and I sent them loads of photographs and everything. I said, and it shows you what you can use them for, and everybody's dead happy about it. And they went, oh, that's great, and I went, yeah. And then I said, do you mind if we use all your photographs in my local employees magazine? And I thought, get in, I'm going to get sponsored here. I said, no, you do what you want with them, that'll be fine. I just want you to know that I really like your milk and I drink it all the time. And you know what I got back for sponsorship? Nothing. So I changed to this company instead. Anyway, I've collected all of these things, yogurt pots, old plant pots, anything at all, because all you really need is something that's got about 1.5 inches of old money that you can put your compost into. Now, whether you use seed compost, John Innan's compost, whether you use stuff from last year, it doesn't really matter. And I'll tell you why. Because when you're planting seeds, they're not using a lot of the nutrient that's actually in the soil. So if you go and spend a fortune on seed compost, what you find is it's actually got a lot of sand in it. Now, they'll tell you, oh, that's to break it up and keep it drained well, and it probably is, but also it means they can take ordinary compost, chop it right down and then mix it with sand, so you're buying sand. Don't make that mistake. Use some of your old tomato soil from last year, or a bit of an old grow bag, because remember, you're only growing the seeds, you're not growing the plants. When those little seeds grow and they get up to a few inches, they must either be fed a liquid fertiliser, or you've got to transplant them into a bigger pot with some proper compost or grown medium in. That's the time when they really need the nutrient and the goodness from the soil. Anyway, getting back to this. By using these things and not these expensive things, you can plant them up as simple as anything, and that's what we're going to have a look at right now. But before that, you know, when videos say that, they go, but before they do that, I'll just tell you a whole lot of stuff that you already know about. I hate that. But here's my before that. When I'm working on a bench, I've always wanted to have one of these posh and posy like bench tops that hold all the soil and the compost in, you know, like the professional gardeners have online and that, and it's like, but they're really, really expensive. So I've just put my soil on the top of the table and it goes all over the place. But then I had a brainwave. I had a look on the local Facebook marketplace under stuff that people were getting rid of. And what I actually got turned out to be perfect. You know what it was? Go on, I'll pay you a £5 if you can guess it. Ha! Wrong. It was an old dog bed. I mean, look at that. That is just perfect. It's a good size to sit on top of the table. It's low at the front end, so I've worked that way on with it. I can get a good amount of compost in, and it stops it going over the floor. Best of all, cost me nothing. So check out your Facebook marketplace or your local recycle centre and see who's got an old dog bed that they're wanting to get rid of. Works perfect. That's the old grown medium from the tomatoes from last year. It's dry, it's full of roots and bits and pieces, but you know what? They all rot in, they all turn to compost. So I never worry too much about it. So it's got bits of everything in there. All I make sure is that I don't see any current weeds growing. I don't want any green bits growing. So I'll use this for almost all my seeds this year. Now when we're talking about seeds, you can always get online and buy some really expensive seed, and you'll probably get 95% or 100% of it will germinate and grow. Or you can do what I've been doing for over 20 years now. I go and buy all the last minute stuff that's out of date, because I've realised by looking at the soil in my garden, those seeds have been in there for years. The minute I turn it over, all the wildflowers and the weeds come through. So why shouldn't these? And the answer is they do. Now, it might be that I only get 50% germination rate, but when a packet of seeds has got, let's have a look, say, you know, well, this one's got 250 seeds in for 50p. How many carrots can you eat? So even if I only get them coming out halfway, I still get 125 carrots for 25 pence. You have, so 50 pence. You tell me where you get them for that price. So I do that every year, and every year I would reckon I probably get about an 80% plus germination rate. So don't think you have to buy expensive seed, especially if you're just working in a little garden or you're growing in buckets. Just make sure that where it says plant like one seed here, you put 2 or 3 in each space. It fills the gaps up if some of them don't grow, and if by chance you get 3 coming through, bonus. Remember, you've got to knock some little holes in the bottom of them. See? You can probably see that. And all I do for that is a pair of old scissors or an old screwdriver. I just stab it through. I'll normally put like a few together. Then I'll get the old screwdriver and I'll just punch right through the whole lot. Half a dozen holes, just so if it gets too wet, they can drain out. And all I'll do with these is just fill them up. If you want them nice and level, stack them, bang them down, give them a press, and look at that. 3 at once, can it be bad? So we're going to get some toms in. So we'll put in the 50 pence clearance ones first. And these were out of date 3 years ago. But you know what? I'm sure nature doesn't mind. So in here it says I'm going to get 12 seeds. But if I actually get 6 plants out of it, I'm a happy bunny rabbit. It's cost me 50p for 6 tomato plants. Off each plant, I should get about £5 of tomatoes. So 6 times £5, 30 pounds of tomatoes for 50p. No brainer, isn't it? Now these are really, really easy to plant because you can see the size of these ones. Some of the seeds that we plant are absolutely tiny, and I'll show you an easy way to plant them later. Now if any of you knows an easy way that my big fingers can get into this blasted packet, just let me know, will you? Otherwise, just amuse yourselves with a pot of tea while you're waiting for me to get in here. There we go. So these, I don't know if you can see them there, these are the seeds. Technique, pinch of seed, tray of compost, sprinkle from about 2 or 3 inches high. Don't worry about them not being in the perfect place because you're going to plant these on. That's the first pinch. Rest of the seeds go in. Make sure you get some in the middle, some round the sides. Most people, it has to be said, miss out the middle when they're planting these, because their idea is always, oh, I'll get the sides done, but they forget the rest. Handful of compost, loosely sprinkled. Remember, you're not wanting to bury these things under 3 foot of soil. A little bit of water over the top. That's the difficult bit done. Now we'll go over to the tricky bit. Not difficult, just tricky. There you go. That's it. I'll pop this in my little heated bed here, and within a couple of weeks I'll have little green plants, and we'll come back and have a look at them then. Now, if you get yourself a packet of seeds and it doesn't come with one of those really nice little plastic labels, you've still got this that you can either stick a lolly stick in and just put it in the pot, or you can go very, very sustainably high tech, like what I did, and I actually use these. Now, you might recognise these. These are slats off one of those blinds you put up at your windows, wooden ones. They're always getting thrown away because the ends break off them. Well, I take them and I cut those long strips into these, and then I end up with a limitless supply of beautiful plant sticks. Pop on the name of what's in there. That's a Baron F1. Don't forget to pop a date on it as well. Done and dusted, in it goes. So from the dog basket over to the heated cold frame, and as you can see, there's the one we've just done, and there's a few I put in a few days ago, and these are little seeds for plants. And as you can just see, I don't know if you can just see it, they're starting to come through now. So give them another week and they'll be up at a beautiful size. Now, this is my secret in the garden. This is what me bairns all got us. So these look after the plants for us. They're doing a sterling job of recovering these old basils. Now let me just show you what I do with those milk cartons. Take a look at this. This is a quickie for you. Now, you know, at the moment we're all trying to recycle and reuse everything, and if you're like me, you end up with a load of these things. Milk cartons, you know, I mean, here we drink goat's milk because we're right on. But the idea is, what do you do with these afterwards? Now, I know some people make soap out of them. Some people make firelighters out of them. What do you do out of them? Message me down below and tell me what you do. Well, I had an idea. At the minute, I'm growing a lot of seedlings to give to, well, give to anybody really. I'm trying to encourage everyone, you see, to grow their own vegetables in their garden. But I also loathe not only buying these things to use, but also giving them away because, you know, they all cost money. So I thought if we took one of these and with a sharp knife, now ask an adult to help you with this one, it may be possible to kind of cut down here and take a section out. Now, if I turn it upside down and take this off first, then by filling it full of growing medium, if it gets too wet, it'll just run out. So, sharp knife, cut straight along. Now, don't worry that you can't see this because I'm going to splice something in now. Now you see, here's that magic cutaway I promised you. So, sharp knife. I say sharp knife, it's like a poker, this one. I got it on eBay last week for about £3. I seem to have to sharpen it every day, but it's not doing too badly, look. Couple of cuts along the end. Use a pair of scissors if you're not comfortable with a knife. And then simply discard this bit sensitively. Getting the idea now? As they used to say on Blue Peter, here's one I prepared earlier. So you can see all I've done is I've filled it up to within an inch of the top with a really nice peat-free compost. Now, this peat-free compost, I'm having a bit of difficulty with it because in this hot weather it doesn't hold the moisture. So what I've started doing is mixing in a bit of this. Now, if you're a fisherman, sea fisherman, you might recognise this stuff. It's vermiculite. And when you get your ragworm to go sea fishing, loads of that stuff's all around your ragworm, and what it does is it absorbs the moisture and holds it. So when you're putting seedlings into compost, it keeps the moisture around the roots of the seedlings. So here's a couple that we've got here, and these are little lettuce seedlings, and all we'll do is we'll transplant a few of them into here. It keeps the moisture around the roots of the seedlings. So here's a couple that we've got here, and these are little lettuce seedlings, and all we'll do is we'll transplant a few of them into here. And here's the tray of plants I'm using. You can see they're all higgledy-piggledy, and if I just take them out, I've given it a good soaking first, so when I lift these you can see they should just come apart really quite easily, and then I can plant them on with all their roots. Now this is the cutaway to the cam that you can see what I'm doing. I'm literally just potting a few in there, making sure that they're all cuddled in nicely. Plenty of compost. Now I usually just grow all my own compost, but this year, I mean, I grew it again, but I just used it all very quickly, so there was no time to prepare enough to make enough for the garden. The reason, because this year I've got 3 gardens on. I'll show you some other videos of them. One is just a neighbour's garden, and it's just a field. I mean, really it is a field, it's terrible. But, you know, we're planting a garden in there for them. Another one is where I have my business. I have some holiday cottages, and round by those holiday cottages, the farmer's very kindly given us access to a field there, and a few of us share it, and we grow the most amazing vegetables down there. Now there you go. I mean, that is not the tiniest planting in the world. Definitely not the tiniest planting. We'll give that a little bit of a drink. And what have we got in there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see if I can get a 6th in there. The little tiddler there, look. We'll put him in. He's got plenty of root on him, so there's a good chance that that will grow on. So there you go. I'll now keep an eye on that, and when they all start standing up and they're all in good nick, I'll put an ad on Facebook and say come and get them. So there you are, from carton to giveaway planter. Dead easy, no trouble at all, and it gives you a second use for these. Now, I imagine that the people at the other end might tear these and just take the plants out when they're ready to be put into their garden. But you know, they could just take them out carefully and then plant them in and then use this again. So how many uses can you come up with for a milk carton? Give it a shot. So as you can see, I've popped them in my little seed thing here just to harden them off a wee bit, you know. But if you take a look, the milk cartons are absolutely brilliant. Pop a label in. That one I did first. I should have done it upside down. But you can see I'm using, you know, old plastic wrappers off the sausages. I've got an old mushroom basket back there. Something off the burgers. So whatever gets thrown away, I always try and use it again. Final take. Hello there, and welcome back to the greenhouse. I thought I'd take a minute to share a quick tip with you on recycling. Now, we drink a lot of milk in our house, and I'm forever throwing away the cartons. Now, alright, I take them off to recycle, but for me there's still something niggling in the back of my head that I'm sure...
And it's called his wife.
Oh God, I nearly shit there.